Throughout this song, again, Wells forces people to admit the sort of propaganda that has been kind of told to them through his lyrics. He makes fun of the people who are spreading messages like, oh, well, if you are working hard, then you'll get more money, and sort of messages that come along like that. And he calls out specifically, he says, I had that reduced lunch, I had the benefit card. Never occurred to me to blame my family for life being so damn hard. I think here Wells is really calling out the idea that he was a child when these sort of things took place. And a lot of the rhetoric that is surrounding aid and government assistance surrounds fraud and sort of ways that people take advantage of the system. And Wells here is pointing out that children can't take advantage of the system. Children are the reason that these systems exist in the first place, if you ask me. Wells points out in his lyrics that while he was a child on these assistance programs, he was just doing what every normal child did. And he calls out the sort of ways that people tell him, well, you were poor growing up, so you should blame your family, or even if people aren't directly saying these things to him, this is the inadvertent message that is coming out of rhetoric around being lower class. And generally, people are not very sympathetic to the poor. And I think that, too, is something else that Jesse Wells is calling out throughout this. Wells points out that the blame could not have been on him because he was a child. And really, should he be blaming his family for the systematic sort of abuse that kind of goes on when it comes to being lower class? I think that's the question that Wells is really prompting us to answer when thinking about this song. Should the lower class be punished just for being lower class? And should they really take the blame on, especially as children just existing? I wanted to put this in conversation with Loraine Neidecker, specifically because of the abuse that Neidecker experienced at the hands of Zhukovsky, and the loss of bodily autonomy that Neidecker really kind of had when Zhukovsky forced her to end a pregnancy, or coerced her, or had any of these other more flowery language. But I believe that the loss of autonomy Neidecker experienced is similar to that of Wells here. And I wanted to bring into conversation Santos's three epistemologies of the South. And Scott, I'm hoping you'll let this count as one of my seven secondary sources. But anyway, so I wanted to bring this in because in this essay, Santos argues that you cannot fight one system while the other two systems are domineering over still. These three systems that Santos is talking about is patriarchy, capitalism, and colonialism. And the reason that I bring this into the conversation right now is because I believe that these two artists have been victim to systematic struggle that both come out of this larger umbrella of isms that just cause all these different problems in my life. Where Neidecker was deeply affected by the patriarchy, Wells is deeply affected by capitalism. And I think this is why we can sort of have these moments of decentralization within Wells and within Neidecker, where both artists are really able to sort of look at their own privilege and see how it is affecting their life, because they have these moments of unprivilege where they do not see how privilege is affecting their life, because it's not. They also speak to each other in lived experiences. All three of these artists, Santos, Neidecker, and Santos, Neidecker, and Wells all lived under different oppressive systems. Santos lived under colonization, Neidecker lived under patriarchy, and Wells lived under capitalism. And I'm sure that all of them lived under all three, but these were the main ones that affected them in my readings of their texts. And so having all three of these texts talk to each other is something, I think we need to see the way that the privileges are affecting our lives in order to decentralize anything. All of these works should be talked about in conglomeration with each other.